Hi guys and welcome to another video. My name's Mark, I'm an entrepreneur and property investor, and in this series we're doing the basics of investing in property, and we're going to be doing the complete guide, and this is part 2. So if you haven't already watched part 1, I'll put a link up in the top right hand corner, probably one of the corners, it will have popped out in, and you can click through to that, watch part 1. But just to recap part 1, we had gone through a spreadsheet and we'd basically created a really good plan where we were going to do part single lets and part HMOs, and we were going to aim for a target of 15% return on investment on all our investment properties. And we'd kind of worked out what that would mean over time. And in year 5, it meant that we were going to have approximately 3 or 4 properties returning about £1,700 a month. In year 10, we'd have 18 properties returning £9,350. And in year 15, we'd have 109 properties returning approximately £58,000 a month. So we'd kind of create this plan. We worked on the variables of 15% return on investment, cash on cash, and a property growth value of 6% per annum. And as you know, if you want to download this sheet or any of the sheets that we talk about in this video, they're all available in the description. Check it out in there. Go to the resources tab, fill out the short form, and they'll be sent to you free of charge. There's no upsell. I don't sell anything on this channel, as you know. So the next stage of our journey is for us to find some properties that we're going to go and view. Then we're going to go through how we're going to find them, what we're looking for, we're going to do some deal analysis, then we're going to go and view those properties, and then hopefully we're going to buy 1 or 2. We've got a couple of investors at the moment looking for single lets, around 10 to 12%. So hopefully we'll be able to pick up a couple that will fit that requirement. So let's get straight into a bit of rightmove searching, I think. And before I start on going through it, I'll just let you know that I have preloaded a lot of the tabs because the last video was 24 minutes. So I'm trying to make this one a little bit shorter. So bear with me. So the first thing we're going to do is look at an area that I'm currently investing in. This is Retford, which is a small market town in Nottinghamshire. The average house price in the area is probably about 160, 170,000, something like that. What is the average house price in Retford? Let's look it up actually rather than that. Retford. And the average house price in Retford is 206,000, so slightly below the national average, which to be honest is something that we do look for when we're investing. We're looking for slightly below the national average in terms of house price. And the price of a 3-bed is anywhere from sort of 120 upwards. Which again, sort of hits our sweet spot of 120 to 170, 180,000. We know we're going to get the right sort of return on investment, and the property also isn't too cheap that anything that we put into it is lost in the value of the property. So there's a couple of options here. Let's have a look through. We've got this 3-bed on Queen Street. I mean, it's been on the market a while. We'll have to work out why. We've got this one, again, on the market a while, another one, another one. Let's first of all, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll first of all have a look on a deal template and we'll plug in some figures. And as I said, I've already kind of preloaded the 125,000 kind of example. And in Retford, the average rents for a 3-bed, now there isn't actually any 3-beds that would be similar to what we'd be buying for rent. But I have spoken to an agent in the last couple of weeks. They reckon between 7 and 750 a month. 700 for sort of a terrace, small, semi-detached, probably 750, as long as they're in good condition. As you know, in the rental market, they don't need to be in fantastic condition, but as long as they're in good, they will go fairly quickly for good money. So we know that we're going to be renting out at 700 to 750. So if I put in 725, I think that's fair enough. And we've got a purchase price of 125 in, interest rate of 2.9%, and that's because obviously on a single let in a limited company, 2.9% the current going rate. All the other costs are in there, and we've got a maintenance fixed charge of £75 per month, which is about £1,000 a year in order to maintain the property. That works out over 20 years at £20,000 to do a light refurb and any ongoing maintenance that might need to be done. On top of that, what this sheet does is it calculates the return on investment. So we managed to achieve a 125 purchase price, we managed to achieve all these costs, and the rent was 725,000. We'd get a rental profit ROI of 10.13%. But this sheet goes one step further. It's fantastic. It tells us exactly, including the average house price growth, when we'd have all our money back out of the deal. So any property that we bought of this sort of caliber at 125, rented out for 725, we'd have all our money out in year 3. Well, almost all apart from about 3%. And the property would be free within about 3 years. That was hard to say. So That's a really good deal. I'm really happy with that in terms of the costs. In one of my previous videos, somebody asked me about EPCs. Am I worried about EPCs being D or E or anything like that? And as you know, at the moment, you have to have an E for your EPC in order to rent it out. In 2025, that's going to change to a D, and what we kind of found is in a lot of the properties, in order to increase the energy efficiency to a D, you really only need to do a few things. Have a lot of insulation in the loft and make sure you've got a modern combi boiler or something similar. I think by 2025 what we're going to find is a lot of electric boilers entering the market, and that's going to really start to push your EPC up into a D, C, B, something like that. I think we really need to wait till closer to the time before we start making changes. Ultimately, it doesn't worry me. I know that a huge proportion of the UK's housing stock is currently at E. I think it was something like 30% is currently an E or below. So there's a huge amount of work to be done to get it to a D, let alone to a C or above later. And it's certainly not going to be the case that everybody's going to be made homeless. So let's assume that as we get closer to the time, more things will come out, we'll be able to move those EPC ratings up easier. I just wanted to cover that off now. It doesn't really worry me. I think as long as we're getting an E, stay legal at the moment, we'll make the changes as we need to. In terms of Retford and why we've chosen Retford, it's got a growing population. There's a lot of building work going on in the area. It's a small market town of about 22,000 people, as you can see on the tab. And for me, there's 3 towns locally. It's like Retford, Gainsborough. I mean, Gainsborough's got some fantastic takeaways. Gainsborough is the home of 2 of my favourite takeaways ever. Hung Wang, which is a Chinese, and Pitta Pan, which is an Indian. And I can't believe they've actually got a takeaway, and you can check it out on Google. Gainsborough has Pitta Pan and Hung Wang as its two main takeaways. Even so, of the 3 towns, Worksop, Gainsborough and Retford, from a bit of local research, it seems like Retford's the most kind of desirable location. House prices are a little bit higher, rents are a little bit higher. I mean, a 3-bed in Worksop will go for about 500 to 600. In Gainsborough, it's 700 to 750. The house prices are reflective of that, but so are the demographics of the clientele. So we prefer Retford for a location for ourselves and for our investors. So we've currently been buying a few properties in the area, and the tenants that we're getting in the area seem to be pretty good, to be fair. That's not to say you can't get great tenants everywhere, you know, please don't read too much into that. But just for us, Retford seems to hit those sort of key metrics of good house prices, good rents, good ROIs, good growth. It's kind of a sweet spot for us. That said, there is only, you know, a few properties for sale that are going to hit the mark for us. So I think what we need to do is have a look at some properties and get an idea of which ones we want to call, and then call through, book some viewings so that we can go and see them. The first one that sort of piqued my interest is this one on Queen Street. It looks straight away as if it's pretty much ready to get rented. It says investors only, actually. So my gut is that it's probably got a tenant in situ, but we'll need to phone up and find out. It looks like it might well do. The pictures don't give that away, but investors only, it kind of alludes to the fact that it's going to be sold with tenant in situ. So that one certainly got my attention. The next one down from there, these ones on Obserton Holmes Road. Again, that looks nice. 3 bedrooms, good sized bedrooms. Kitchen looks good enough. Outside looks nice. It's either an end of terrace or a semi. Yeah, it looks like a nice property. Wouldn't need to do a lot of work on that at all. I think we can agree. I definitely want to see that one. That looks fantastic. There's a few here, so let's start phoning through and we'll get a good feel for the sort of agents and what they're saying. I think we'll start with this one actually, Holmes Road. Of the 2 that I just looked at, that's certainly my favourite. I don't think you need to listen in on all the calls I make, but you can certainly listen in on 1 or 2.
Brown & Co. Good morning, Neil speaking.
Hello Neil, I wonder if you can help me. My name's Mark. I've just been looking at a property you've got for sale on Holmes Road in Retford for 125. I think it went up a couple of days ago, 27th the 5th. Yep. Is it yourself that I could speak to about that?
Yep, how can I help?
Basically, I'm an investor. I'm really interested in. We've just bought another property on Trent Road, I think, in Retford, and I'm really interested in this as a purchase for a single let. So I wanted to get an idea from yourself, first of all, whether you think that this would be a good idea for a property in this location, and secondly, to see if I could book a viewing, if possible.
Yep, it's a good location, close to town centre, close to some schools, so they always put rent well up there.
Yeah, roughly, if I was to put this on to rent, roughly what would I get?
We've just let a really nice refurbished Victorian house on Albert Road, which is a busy road, and that got 700.
700, yeah. I had spoken to a few people in the area, and the last time we bought one, they were recommending around 700 for a Victorian terrace that we were buying in good condition. Do you know what I mean? They just said that the Retford lettings market right now is just crazy.
It is stupid.
That's pretty much how they described it.
Yeah.
Guys, a really good phone call, really receptive, gave me a good idea of the market. From previous conversations I've had, I know that this is going to go for around the 700 mark. And there just isn't anything for rent in Retford at the moment. The cheapest one is a 3-bed for 775. So really, we can set our price anywhere up to there, and we'll probably get viewings and we'll probably get it rented out. I know historically they've probably gone a bit cheaper, 650, 700, somewhere in that region. But at the moment, with the shortage in the market, as long as we can buy it nice and quick, get it rented out, we're going to be able to get 700. I'm confident of that. What we will do though is stress test this. We'll stress test this down to, I think, 675, just to get an idea of what the ROI would be in that instance. So the ROI at 675 would be 8.66%. And we'd still get most of our money back in 3 years. It would take probably 3¼ years to get all of it back. And it's still £250 profit, no, 265 profit. At 700, we're all good. We're getting all the money back, par 5% in 3 years, and it's nearly £300 a month profit. It's a good single let at 125. What I'm gonna do now though, is I'm gonna make a few more calls. I probably won't record all of them because there's no point. We'll put some B-roll in and we'll probably let that roll, and then we'll get back and I'll update you. So Nick, put some B-roll in. So guys, I've made those phone calls, absolutely fantastic. All the agents were really receptive. One of the properties I wanted to see, actually, tenants in situ, as I sort of thought. Can't view that one at the moment. The other ones, I've got 3 viewings booked. I've got 2 in Retford and I've got 1 actually down in Northamptonshire. And I'm seeing a variety of things. So it's gonna be a really, really interesting day when I get to take you guys out, which will come next Monday. Hopefully, guys, though, looking at this, we've got some really good things booked in. I think that the ROI on the single lets is gonna be anywhere from 9 to 11%, which is really, really respectable. And the HMO I'm going to see, 23%. It's up and running, it's a 6-bed. So really, really happy about seeing that as well. Fits in very well with our plan, you know, the plan that we were talking about originally and that we created in the first video. And again, if you want to see that first video, make sure you go back and look at it, because it really did highlight just how much value you get by compounding your wealth over time. It's surprising how much a small amount of money, I mean relatively small, right? £60,000, 70, £80,000 at the beginning can compound into many millions over the course of 10, 15 years once you're reinvesting that rental income and everything else. But I think today we've managed to go through quite a lot of stuff. One of the things I want to give you to take away from this is the way that I was conducting myself with agents and some of the things I was saying. I really do think that most of what you say isn't about what you say, it's how you say it. And I was just speaking to Nick about this actually off camera, and he was saying, you sound so confident and you know, people just want to buy from you straight away. And I really do think that a lot of what you say is about how you say it. So when you're contacting these agents, when you're booking these viewings, make sure you go in with authority, make sure you go in knowing what you want to talk about, knowing what you want to get out of the conversation. For me, it really is only 2 or 3 things. It's, you know, is this property still for sale? What's the rental area like? Am I going to be able to rent it out? Would you like it on your books? Number 3, can I come and see this property? You know, at the moment, you all know, COVID going on, it's quite hard to get viewings. I want to find out, can I get those things in? Retford for us, actually, interestingly, we're not very well known in the area. In Northamptonshire, Oxfordshire, we're very well known, so we find it much easier with existing relationships. In Nottinghamshire, we're still getting to know the agents. We've only bought a couple of houses through them at this point in time. So we're still in the phase of building relationships, but you can see the value of creating those relationships straight away. Already, about 10 minutes ago, I got another email from somebody saying, this one's about to come on the market. Do you want to see this at the same time? So already we're starting to get that interest. I think it's really key. I've just remembered I've spoken to quite a few people who have complained that they weren't able to book viewings because they were being asked for proof of the funds or proof of deposit or any of those sort of things. But the reality is, if you speak with confidence, and I can imagine how some people might be doing it, you know, hello, Mr. A. I don't want to talk down on people, but do you know what I mean? There was so much naivety or feeling so nervous about a situation. And the reality is, you're just trying to have a conversation and get underneath what the situation with that property is. You know, will it work for your purposes? And that probably gave the agent a level of certainty about my seriousness in booking this viewing. I spoke with confidence and we just booked it straight in, right? And the same with the other 2 calls. Straight away I've got people saying, look, there's this, there's that, how are you interested in this? And we're just having those sort of conversations. So I really would say, even if you're just starting out on your journey, speak as if you own it. Speak as if this journey is yours, you're in control, you know what your outcome is. Before you get onto the call, write down what you want your outcome to be and ask the questions that are going to get you those bits of information. Give this video a big like if you haven't already and consider subscribing if you haven't. Remember, we're going to give away an investment property on this channel once we get to 100,000 subscribers. We're already giving away the dividends, so there's no reason not to subscribe. And part 3 will be with you next week on Monday, so check out for that.